She already had most of the debt at that point and decided not to say anything at that moment because she thought I would have broken up with her right then and there. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to go over a story titled, Am I the A-hole for revoking my wife's access to my car? And guys, this story is about a guy. He is 36 years old, wife's 32, married like 2 years now, not too long. And let's just say that these two are opposites. This guy is organized, efficient, good with money, responsible. His wife is the total opposite. Disorganized. Her mind's caught all over the place. She's an artist. She's in marketing, so she's a creative type. And so she's a big mess. Essentially, she's like a child. And to no surprise, she's absolutely terrible with money. And you're going to see in the story, guys, that also she is very much lacks responsibility. And essentially, you're going to see this guy one day borrows her car. And let's just say she didn't quite keep up with registration, the tags and all that. And the cops pull him over and cause him a whole bunch of problems. But that was just the beginning of the mess that he discovers with her that she's been keeping behind him. And I'll be a very entertaining one to go over here to show you guys. And this story, as well as entertaining, is also a good lesson here. For your relationship, guys, if you're thinking about getting married one day, because I know there are plenty of you out there whether you want to admit it or not, you got to make sure you and your lady are eye to eye when it comes to the finances, budgeting, money, all that. Now, generally speaking, men are better with money than women in terms of men don't spend nearly as much as women do. Women are notorious for spending a lot of money on bullshit. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. There are women I've known that are actually very good with money and don't piss it away. And I've also known men that spend all their money on bullshit. So, but by and large, men are much more likely to save than spend. You got a girl you're in a relationship with, you got to make sure that she understands the concept of a budget. And she's not going to piss away money on bullshit. And you got to do your homework on her. If she's always spending money and it seems like she's the vacations and the purses and the shoes and all that shit, but you know what she does for a living, it doesn't quite add up, that's a problem. And frankly, if you're going to get married to her, you have a right to know what her credit score is, what kind of debt she has. You absolutely do, as does she with you. Otherwise, it's going to become a problem for you down the road, and you're going to see here. I don't want to give you the big revelation, but holy shit. A can of worms does this guy discover on her, and he does definitely lay down the law. So, starts off, he says here, I, a 36-year-old male, love my wife, and she's awesome. Our relationship is solid, but she's a very different person than I am. I am by nature an organized and process-oriented person. I work as a project manager, and my life is focused around structure, planning, deadlines, etc. In other words, he's a fucking adult who's responsible. My wife is the opposite. She's a creative type with a great career in advertising. Nothing about her life is organized. Everything is haphazard and somewhat chaotic. But this is what makes her good at her job. I understand and accept that and have done since I fell in love with her. We're different, and that's a huge part of her awesomeness. She is cool and exciting and brought new things to my life, and I love that. Well, she's about to bring a whole lot of shit to your life. Let's see how much you love that. I get opposites attract. Fair enough. I've known couples that were quite opposites, and it's worked for them. But when it comes to things like money and being organized and stuff like that, you got to work things out. You got to be on a plan. You got to, it's just not fair to the other person who's organized and keeping things, in a certain responsible adult-like manner, and the other person behaves like a fucking teenager. And that's what you're going to see here. It says the issue. We both have cars. My car is newer and has better technology, but they're similar. But I keep my car clean and tidy all the time. Her car is a mess. Garbage, empty coffee cups, shit rolls around when driving, etc. She hates dealing with it, and because my car is nicer than hers, she prefers to use my car. I have seen women like this that have just so much shit in their car, and I remember one time I saw a girl, she was such a mess, I wouldn't date her anymore. There was no second date, okay? I can't take slobs, Okay, you got a few things in the car, it's fine. But when you have garbage everywhere and things rolling around, are you fucking kidding me? And I'd be like, oh, hell no, you're not going to borrow my car. Oh, no, not the mess that you leave. 3 weeks ago, she was going to her friend's place up in the woods, 5-hour drive for a girls' weekend. And I'm going out for the weekend skiing 3.5 hours away. We're both leaving at the end of the work on Friday. At 4 p.m., my wife is done and she leaves. Loves and kisses, etc. When I finish at 7:30, I'm antsy to get going. I go to load my gear, but when I get outside, my wife's car is gone, and hers is on the driveway. I thought, WTF, did she take my car? So, not cool. She should have let him know or asked him if she'd taken his car. Well, wait till you see what's going on here. I call her and we have a fight because I'm pissed. I have a ski rack on my roof and the gear doesn't really fit in her car. But she's already 3 hours into her trip up north. I don't want to ruin her weekend by making a big deal about this, so I suck it up. He's going skiing, so of course he would take the car that has the ski rack to put your skis and poles and all that shit on top of your car. She's taking this for a reason. There's no gas in her tank, as usual. She's one of those that drives the car when it's on E, literally counting down the miles to the gas station. So I guess I get gas, and as I leave the gas station, I get pulled over. I'm just effing pissed at this point. The cop asks for the license and registration, which I'm already looking for and I can't find. Of course he can't find it. There's a ton of papers and receipts and all sorts of random crap in the glove compartment and a center console, and I can't find it. The cop says, I pulled you over because your license plate tags have expired. And the cop says the vehicle is registered. I said, the vehicle is registered to my wife's name, a previous apartment, and she hasn't updated her registration. What a freaking surprise. The tags are not updated. Probably isn't inspected on time either. The cop said that there's also unpaid citations on this vehicle, and I have to inform you that I am impounding this vehicle. The cop writes up a ticket, calls a tow truck, and tows it to the pound. So here he is left at the freaking gas station. What a childish, irresponsible jackass his wife is. But you know what? This guy married her. This guy obviously allowed her to be that way instead of laying down the law. You know, she's a big child, but he enables her behavior. That's the way I see it. Since then, we've had a couple of huge fights about this. I feel that she needs to be more organized, starting with keeping her car legal. To force the issue, I revoked my wife's usage privileges in my car until such a point that we're on a more of an equal footing, and she's mad about it. I'm not prepared to budge on it until she can take care of her car situation. Good, bro. Very good. Oh, no. You make your bed and you lie. It's not my job to be your parent and clean up after your fucking mess. You can keep your registration on time. You can keep your car fucking clean, amongst so many other things, because we're just getting started. So give it to me straight. Am I being the a-hole about the car? Dude, you are not being the a-hole about the car. You are laying down the law, which you should have been doing a long time ago. But we're about to get into part 2. Really, we're going to see what's going on with her. The expired tags is barely scratching the surface of her level of irresponsibility. Part 2. This is hello, everyone. It's been a while. I think this has been like a few months. I've had a lot of requests for an update. The previous thread is locked, so I can't update to this one. A lot has happened in the past 8 months. This issue really opened up a huge can of worms. I'm having a hard time knowing what I want to do moving forward with her. Bear in mind, this is long. So here's what happened since this post. It says, in important context, we never joined our finances. We have separate bank accounts where pay goes and a joint account where we both pay our monthly funds to cover joint expenses. And it's been working fine for years. We have separate accounts for things like cell phones, car insurance, and other things that we've had before we got together. Thank the Lord that they have separate bank accounts, no joint accounts except for just one small one to pay the mutual bills. And as you're about to see, guys, this is why you always, if you're married, separate account for her paycheck or business profits to go into, and account for yours. And only one joint account to pay the mutual expenses. That is it. Same thing with credit cards. Do not get a credit card with your wife having access to it where she can rack it up and then damage your credit or you be on the hook for it. And vice versa. He says here, retrieval of her car. Number 1, I never had a car towed before, so I didn't really know what to do. And holy shit, that was a complete shit show. I called the number for the impound lot, and they informed me that before I could get the car back, we need to pay off all the citations to get her car come back, etc. Of course, the DMV doesn't open until Monday, so I'm without a car all weekend. Oh, imagine that. She has a whole bunch of citations. Whoever would have thought? Number 2, on Monday, we go into the DMV to sort this out. I found out that there are 47 unpaid parking tickets to my wife's car going back for almost 2 years. That's almost like a ticket every other week for 2 years, which costs over $1,500 to clear out. Gee, I wonder who's paying for that. I was dumbfounded. I almost exploded and asked, what the fuck is going on here? And she basically started, wait for it, crying and saying she knew it was an issue, but didn't realize it was that bad. 47 unpaid parking tickets. What I tell you in the beginning about making sure you got somebody on the same level of that's like you, organized, responsible. She's a freaking child. She's obviously, because she's a creative person for her marketing, so she's an artist and she's a free spirit. You know what those types are like. Number 3, she didn't have enough money to pay for the tickets because her credit card is, wait for it, maxed out. Which was news to me too. She has a $10,000 credit limit on her card, so I paid it off. Smack! No, she can borrow from her mom or her dad, not from you. Of course her credit card is maxed out. Number 4, then we tried to change her registration from her old address to our address, which prompted a whole other issue. Her insurance has lapsed. I didn't know this either, so we had to get on her by her insurance company to get that sorted out. So she's driving a vehicle with no insurance. Is that what I'm hearing here? While going through the process, I discovered that her premium was literally 4 times more than mine, and they insisted on a full payment up front for the 12-month period, which is $4,800. The reason her premium is so much higher is because obviously all her fucking problems. Number 5, to get everything complete and the car be released took 3 days. Then we went to the pound to get the car. $375 of towing fees, plus a 90-day per day storage fee, so $825 needing payment. Again, I had to pay because she couldn't afford it. We get home and I'm just fuming. This cost me $7,000 in a few days. And this, my friends, is why you dig into your girl's history before you marry her. This is why you find out about her credit score, her debts, all that. You grill it. You grilled into her to find out, because her problems, one way or another, will become your problems. Now, he could have said, you know what, screw you. We're done. You know, you're proven I just can't do this shit anymore. He could have said, you know what, I should have been more, took more my time to get to know you better, explored all these things, but you're hiding these things from me. And oh, by the way, the $10,000 credit card maxed out, shocker. We're too different. It's not going to work out. You find your own way. Or call your dad, call your mom, call your grandpa, call your godfather, have them pay for this. Again, guys, we're just getting started. He says, next, our first real fight. After we got home from picking up her car, I'm just beyond frustrated and angry at this entire situation, and I need to have clearing of the grievances with her. This blew up over 4 hours to the biggest fight we ever had. And you know what, dude? You have every right to be pissed. You have every right to yell and carry on, and we know she's just going to cry. I thought we had fights before, but this was different. It was a relationship accidental. It really opened my eyes to the real issue. That being, I actually don't really know who she is anymore. Dude, you married who you thought she was. You were attracted to her free-spirited, creative type of personality because you obviously are a very serious, organized guy. Opposites attract until this shit happens. There were so many skeletons that came out of her closet in this 4-hour roller coaster of emotions. Here is the highlight. Her money situation. Number 1, I was surprised that her credit card was maxed out. It's a $10,000 limit. She makes great money, about $25,000 more annually than I do, so her lack of money was unexpected. Then I asked her, how much debt does she have in total? At this point, I only know of the $10,000 credit card debt I learned a few days beforehand. Number 2, I learned that she has 6 credit cards. All of them are basically maxed out. Total credit card debt is $24,000, all with high interest. Number 3, she also has 3 store cards, all maxed out. Total store card debt is $2,500. Number 4, I also learned she had a line of credit of $18,000, all maxed out. Number 5, she also owes to various friends and family members about $8,000. That's why she's not going to anybody else to help her with the car situation. Number 6, her total debt is, wait for it, gentlemen, $52,000. He says she makes the monthly minimum payments only on everything. And this, gentleman, is why, again, you do your homework on your girl. Credit report, credit score, how much debt she has, her debts, all that. Can you imagine how much she's paying a year in interest? This is why I'm an investor. I have money invested in a lot of different areas, index funds, individual companies, real estate, etc. But one of the stocks I own is American Express. And you know why I own American Express? This shit. Because you can count on so many people, Americans, to live beyond their means, that they're always going to rack up big debts, buying shit to make them happy. And guess what? American Express is always going to make money. I feel bad for people that are in a really bad situation, lose their job, bad circumstances where they have to put their needs on there, like food and stuff like that, or the electric bill. Then I have some sympathy for that. But for your average Joes, and let's be honest, most Americans live beyond their means. They buy shit to make them happy. I don't feel bad, and this is why I own American Express, because they're always going to make money. Anyway, I'm not doing a pitch for American Express, but they are a great company, and they're good to have as a good credit card. But holy fucking shit, perfect example. I know I'm going to get some hate in the comments section about that. I'm waiting for it. He says, at this point, I'm shocked and reeling. I can't believe it. I feel physically sick. I don't know about any of this, and I'm at a loss as to what to do, and I don't know. I don't even know who she is anymore. We've been married for 2 years now, together for 5.5. Smack! So you married her after knowing her for 3.5 years, not long enough, and you obviously didn't do your homework and really dig in to find out who she is. This is ridiculous. When we moved from dating to a relationship, we had a pretty big talk about core values and what was important to be aligned on before getting really involved. Yeah, I think you ignored some of these core values, dude. You were too busy getting your dick sucked. That's what was going on here. Obviously, things like being exclusive are key. But I also said that financial security and being debt-free are very important to me. I made some stupid decisions in my early 20s that hurt me financially, and I had to work hard to get out from under that. Well, now it's her job to work hard to get from under that. I said I had 3 pillars that I wanted to build a future with her on. These were deal breakers. If she's not 100% on board, then we shouldn't continue dating because I was falling in love and I didn't want to go further unless there was a future. Number 1, cheating in any form is a deal breaker for me. Number 2, financial irresponsibility is a deal breaker. And 3, family, I want to have kids. I reminded her of all this in the fight, and she said that I had come on too strong at that point about financial irresponsibility, and she already had most of the debt at that point and decided to not say anything at the moment, which she acknowledged was her mistake, because she thought that I would have broken up with her there and then. No freaking shit would he have broken up with her. He found out that she had that much debt, and she hid it on purpose. He had a whole conversation how important this is, and she ignored it and lied. I would not stay with her at this point. I would not be able to be with someone like this. Okay? But you're going to see how this guy handles it. Then she kept hiding it because she wanted to try and rectify it before I found out. But she couldn't. Of course you can't. When you have high interest in that kind of debt, you're never going to get out of it unless somebody loans you a bunch of money, like a family or friend, to pay it off, and then you pay them with no interest. She also pointed out that I never asked about her financial situation, which is true. I didn't. So that was where we are. Smack. Well, you certainly wishing you asked her now, but she knew darn well it was important to you and she hid it. That's the point. At this point, I was pretty upset and I had to leave the house. So I left and went to stay at a friend's house for the night, which ended up being a couple of weeks in the end. The next morning when I woke up, I felt devastated. I had to take some time off work because I couldn't think straight. I kept racking my brain to understand how this happened. How did I not know, and how did I not see the signs or evidence? Because you were in the fog, that's why. Because you were so attracted to her, and you're only been married 2 years. And again, there were probably things about her personality that you were really attracted to. And I might as well say while we're all thinking about this, if she hid this so well, what else is she hiding? Right? Gal like this sounds like she probably is a carousel rider and found a responsible, nice guy to marry who's organized and efficient, because she knows darn well in the back of her mind this guy will solve all her problems. I felt betrayed. It was like I'd been cheated on, but somehow even worse. I couldn't bring myself to speak to her for the first few days because I was so angry and upset. I'm not usually a very emotional person, so this was a difficult to process. I would go from rage to tears to rage to despair in a few minutes. I didn't trust myself around anyone not to be a raging a-hole. She was blowing up my phone, asking me to talk to her and come home, but I couldn't. Well, that's a good thing, honestly, so you can try to work things out and maybe not explode at her. I eventually asked my friend to call her and tell her to give me some space and time, which I did. But later in that day, I had her brother and both her parents reach out to me to see if we could speak. I politely declined and said I needed time. Obviously, she was going through a tough time too and reached out to them for help. The last 6 months have been hard, but we're working through it. We're both committed to that. But I'm still struggling with the enormity of the situation. I still can't help but feeling betrayed. Because you were betrayed. And you're with a gal who obviously has a spending problem. Probably doesn't make herself feel better. I've lost a lot of trust in her, but we are in a couples therapy right now to get through this. This guy is much more patient than a lot of you guys would be. I would have been done with her because I'm realizing that this is just not going to work. Can't trust her. You're total opposites when it comes to money and finances. How does a guy expect to build wealth with a woman like this? How can he trust her? And what else is she not saying? I mean, really. She's trying really hard to make it work, correct her mistakes, and work on being a more organized and reliable person. I see that. She's made some real major changes in how she runs her finances. She's taken debt counseling sessions and is following those teachings quite diligently and being really transparent with her situation. In the last 6 months, she's consolidated all the cards into one loan and canceled all her old cards. The debt is down 14 grand since this all started. This is all super positive, so I'm hopeful that this has a good ending. So he ends it there, not with him kicking her out or anything like that, but he obviously laid down the law with her that basically you're going to get your shit together or I'm fucking out of here. I personally would not I would have gotten involved with someone like this, let alone stay with someone upon this discovery. But if he's going to do this, and he obviously has to lay down the law, you're going to get your shit together and start acting like a fucking adult right now. I will help you create an organized system in the house with your finances and your budget, and you're going to stick to that or we're done. Yes, there's going to be one credit card for you, and you're going to consolidate everything, and there's going to be no spending on bullshit until all this stuff is paid off. And then going forward, we're going to have a budget, and you're going to stick to this, and you're going to show me the deposits of your paycheck into your accounts, and see what you spend money on, et cetera, et cetera. That is the only way I'm going to give you a chance. That's the best thing he could do if he decides to stay with her. And if she deviates from any of that, goodbye. But then one could argue, okay, fine. She'll stay in the marriage longer, and the next thing you know, divorce him when everything's clear. Who knows? But it did mention that she makes more money than he does. I have known people in this world that they can make $1 million a year, and they'll spend $1.1 million a year. That is just who they are. Spend. It's ridiculous. So anyhow, guys, moral of the story here, get to know your girl on multiple fronts, but also make sure she behaves like a responsible adult. She's organized, can set up a budget. You see eye to eye when it comes to the finances. Now again, if you're good luck finding a girl that is going to be just like you if you are more of a saver than a spender. And I'm not saying you should go around being an Ebenezer Scrooge, never spend a freaking dime, be a total cheap ass your whole life. You can enjoy yourself. But overwhelmingly, every month, there should be money put away building wealth, not pissing away on bullshit. When so many people piss away money on bullshit to make themselves feel better. It's ridiculous. And how many people spend so much money trying to impress other people? It's ridiculous, And you gotta get to make sure what your girl's like, because women generally spend more money than men do, and they piss away on bullshit. They're emotional. Their CPU is emotion, and they're gonna use that emotion to justify their actions. Fair enough. And I got no problem with a little bit of spending and having some fun. Life is short, but like this is ridiculous. And there are a lot of people out there who are like this. And I don't want this to happen to you guys. So really do your homework on your girl, and this is a perfect example. Alright guys, that was it for today. Be sure to comment down below what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.